welcome to the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I am the host of this show every single week, and we are live on YouTube. So please share this information. I always forget to say it at the end, so I'm saying it at the beginning. Today we have my NCNW sister, Brenda Burton Selden. She is a tax accountant, and she's going to give us some really, really important information. Brenda, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I'd just like you to reintroduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do. And please explain how important that EA is after your name. What does that mean?
Well, thank you, Vanita, for inviting us to come and speak from BBS Tax Services. We're located at 1000 Lafayette Boulevard here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The EA stands for Enrolled Agent, where I took examinations, several, and I successfully passed them. And then what it stands for, I am allowed to represent my clients before the IRS, the Internal Revenue, before they go to tax court. So we help clients with installment agreements, offers and compromises, and then in some cases, clients have a hardship, and we will sit down with them and help them analyze their tax problems. So that allows me to do that.
That's wonderful. That's a great service. Thank you for explaining it, because I didn't know what it was. And you know, there's a lot of us that have tax problems, and the reason we have tax problems, you know, we have businesses, we don't know all of the tax law. So please, everybody, sit back, get your pen, record it, watch it again, and you know, just absorb this information and apply it to better yourself, personally, your family, and or your businesses. Okay. So we're going to start with what's new this year. I know the tax laws change every year. I don't do my own taxes. I'm scared. I'm a disaster. So what's new this year for, you know, personal and or business? What do we need to know, Brenda?
Well, first of all, most of the time, individuals or people come to us and they ask the question, do I have to file taxes? And not everyone is required to file, but some of the tips I'm going to share with you today will give you a better idea of whether or not you do have to file. So if you're a citizen or a resident of the United States and you earn certain income, you have to file. The best way to determine that is based on your filing status and how much income or gross income you've earned for that year. The other thing I want to recommend in choosing a tax advisor or a tax preparer, you want to make certain that the person is qualified and that they've taken all the educational guidelines that are required. And some of the things that they are required to do is to get what we call a P10. And the P10 is issued from the Internal Revenue Service. In order to e-file a tax return, you have to have a P10. And you have to pass a certain number of courses and receive a CPE credit for the number of classes or credits that you receive.
You want to be represented by an experienced, licensed tax accountant.
Correct.
Make sure they have their license. When I sit down with folks, that's one of the first things I do is show my Connecticut state license.
Right. Makes sense all the time. And then you want to make sure if the person is preparing your tax return, make sure they sign it. I've seen many tax returns come across my desk and it reads at the bottom, self-prepared. By who? So you want to make sure if the person sits down with you and plugs in those numbers somewhere on their return, and most often people don't know what they're looking at.
I don't.
So you want to make sure that they sign the return and they provide that number, which I just described, as the P10 at the bottom of the return.
Okay, one quick question. If you're getting your taxes prepared electronically, do they just do the e-signature, or what do they do? How do you make sure they sign it?
That's fine.
Okay, as long as it's the e-signature.
And the P10.
Okay.
is required.
I never knew that, and I have
Yep.
my own business.
So look for that PTIN and a
Mm-hmm.
number, and it's a total of 9 digits that is beside at the bottom of the return.
Okay.
Okay?
So yes, I just wanted to say, when it comes to tax, my forms, I am 100% dependent on the person that's preparing my taxes because I don't know anything. If they tell me to sign, I sign. What are some of the red flags that me as a person that knows nothing about taxes should look for besides making sure the preparer signs it? Is there anything else, any other
Yes.
red flags? What else should we look for? Because that's how we get in trouble.
Right. One of the things that I hear often, and I hear other preparers that do say to you, if you provide this, we can get you a higher refund. Or if they make the type of promises that if you pay me more money, I can get you a higher refund. Or if you say that you're in business and let's say you didn't earn any income, but you're putting down all these personal expenses, that's a red flag.
Okay.
So you want to also, when you're sitting down with a preparer, you want to ask them, can you please explain, why am I taking this credit? Why am I taking this tax deduction? What do I need to do in the future, which is part of the tax planning aspect? What do I need to do in the future to minimize my taxes? That's a healthy question, something to look forward in the future, because you may owe in 2023 tax season, but you should look forward into 2024. What can you do to minimize your taxes? Maybe it might be changing your W-4 form, making sure you take a higher deduction, making sure you could look at all the other tax law deductions and credits going forward, because there are many of them.
Okay.
So those are some things that you want to look at. But most importantly, you want to make sure if someone puts something down on your tax return, you want to ask what it is.
And have a receipt for it.
Not only that,
Right.
and ask for a receipt. You can ask for a receipt of payment. But that's the bigger part of this scheme is when you sign that tax return, you're liable.
Exactly.
Okay?
Not the preparer.
Well, they could be penalized as well, but you're liable.
Okay.
You're the first person that the IRS will come to. You will receive the letter first, okay?
Oh, yes. Anytime I hear IRS, I get nervous. Like if I get something in the mail, I automatically get nervous.
Well, that's true with a lot of other people.
It's like getting a ticket when the police siren is in back of me. It's like, oh God, I get so nervous.
Yeah.
So
Well, the other thing I want to mention that I think is important, when you walk in to get your tax return prepared, you should see a price list. You know how we go and get our nails done? Okay.
Oh,
You should
okay.
see a price list. You should ask for their price before you engage or sign an agreement to authorize them to do your taxes. You should look for that price list
Okay.
and ask questions, okay?
Okay.
And the other thing that I find important is find out if that person and the agency, is it open all year round? Are they going to be available when you need copies of your tax return? Are they going to be available if you receive those nagging letters from the IRS? And are they willing to represent you? Or do they have partners on the outside that can represent you? So those are some tips that I highly recommend as a tax advisor.
okay. And if anybody needs, further detailed information, they can always just call you
Yes.
at
yes.
the number on the screen.
Yes, you can reach us at 203-540-5624. And we have an email as well, and it's BBS, and those are my initials, tax@gmail.com. And that's where they can reach us.
Okay, wonderful.
Some other things I wanted to talk to you about today in terms of ways that you could reduce your tax liability legally.
For businesses,
individuals.
Okay, individuals, okay.
Okay, and it would involve tax credits and tax deductions. Some of these are, you may have heard before. One in particular is the earned income tax credit. And the maximum credit this year is $7,430 for an individual married, filing joint with 3 children or more.
Okay.
Okay, and we have we've had the child tax credit. In the past it was much higher. Recently it was reduced to $2,000, and that's available for individuals who have children under age 17.
Okay.
Then we have what we call the free money.
Ooh.
They give you free money.
Okay,
You ever
I'm
heard of that?
interested now. I'm perking up. I don't have any little kids. I'm like, okay.
Well, you don't have to have kids for that free money.
Yes.
This is called the standard deduction.
Oh, okay.
You either get a standard deduction or an itemized deduction. And with the Job Tax Act, the government changed the standard deduction and made it much higher than it was in the past. In the past, we had what we call the personal exemptions and standard deductions, but
Okay.
they changed that, and the standard deductions are much higher. We call it free money in our office.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, how much free money do we get? Does it depend on our income?
It,
or-
it depends on your filing status, whether
okay.
or not you filed single, married filing joint, married filing separate, or head of household. That's
Okay.
what it depends
Which
on.
one gets the most money? Maybe I need to divorce my husband.
Nope.
If I get more money single.
Nope. Well-
Is it married jointly?
Yes, married
Okay.
filing jointly.
He can stay now.
And it really depends. I have some clients, for whatever reason, it doesn't make sense for them to file married filing joint. And that's something we
Yeah.
do in terms of we analyze and try to help them make the right decision where it's going to benefit them.
Okay.
And the other one that is important is the retirement funds. The
Oh.
individual retirement funds,
IRAs.
IRAs.
Yeah, that's what people know them as.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's up to $7,000 now.
What do you mean it's up to 7,000?
As far as the deduction,
Oh, okay.
the
So
maximum you could put in is $7,000, depending on your age, and so that's up. And then we have other ones as well. We have the Roth, which is
Okay.
not a deductible, but it's a good savings vehicle. Again, I mentioned child tax credit, retirement funds, earned income tax credit. So there are a host of credits available. One in particular is that residential energy credit. There's an energy credit for vehicles, those who buy the electric
The
vehicle.
electronic, yeah.
Yes, and those that install solar on their homes, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's credit for that as well.
how far back can you go for that? Does it have to be in 2023?
Well, actually, the solar credit, I believe it went back, a couple of years, maybe
Okay.
around 21, 22.
Okay. My niece just had that done, so I want to remind her to do it.
Yeah, but it's something that's worthwhile.
Okay. I
So-
meant to ask you a question. I want to go back for just a minute. You said there are 2 credits. One if you file single, I think.
The filing status.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
depending on your filing
Okay.
status. So if in your case, you're married.
filing jointly.
Right. So if you are married filing jointly, you receive a standard deduction. You and your
Okay.
husband both, you file joint, and that this deduction is available to you. It's much higher than single.
Okay. All
and
right.
it's
That's what I
much
wanted
higher-
clarification
It's
on.
actually this year, I'm looking at it now, for a single person, it's $13,850.
Okay.
For a married filing joint, it's $27,700.
Okay.
And head of household is $20,800. And if you're married filing separate, it's something similar to being single.
Single.
So it's $13,850.
Thank you.
So those are the standard deductions for 223 tax year, and 24 the amounts are already out.
Okay.
So we have something to work forward to next year.
Right.
And when you're sitting down with your preparer, you want to do some tax planning. And
This
that's
information is invaluable. Thank you so much. I love getting free information. Thank you. Thank you.
the other area I really want to highlight too is if you owe taxes. And I'm very serious about that because the IRS may look to, garnish your wages or put a lien on your assets. And to avoid that, it's worthwhile to sit down with someone to have either make a telephone call yourself and try to work out payment arrangements, or either come to someone like myself and have talked to them about an offer and compromise. Not everyone qualifies for an offer and compromise,
Right.
but it's worth the discussion. And the other one that is most important that a lot of people are not even aware of, and if you have debt and you have so much debt and you have less assets, there's no income to service any additional debt. That's an uncollectible situation. There's no way they can take apples from oranges. That's what I always say. So it's worth sitting down and having an individual like myself to analyze your budget, analyze your income, analyzes it. If it's worth, if it means not being able to eat or pay your debt, it's worth sitting down and talking to someone. And I've done that before with other clients, and seniors,
Right.
nursing homes,
Oh,
they can't
they're
afford.
ruthless.
Yeah, they can't afford any additional debt.
No. So let me just clarify that. So what you're saying, and there's a lot of people in situations like that. So if your debt, say you owe $50,000, is that what you're saying? And then your income is only $40,000. They cannot come and garnish your wages or collect. Is
I
that
didn't
what
say
you?
that.
No. Okay, no. That's what I'm asking. It's a question.
Yeah, no.
So you're saying they can't get, apples from oranges or whatever.
Well,
so please explain that, because I don't get it.
What I'm attempting or trying to say to you, there's certain standards in terms that Congress and the government have approved in terms of, living standards, that they understand that you have to have a certain standard amount of income or expenses to pay food, for housing,
To live on, your cost of living.
Right,
yeah.
your cost of living. And so what we do, we put together a budget.
Okay.
And we put together a Form 4433F that shows your financial affidavit, and we will present that to the IRS. And we'd make a recommendation to them as far as the debt, the IRS debt. There's no way possible if, maybe some money might come in at a future date. And then at that time, they'll either stop collecting or trying to attempt to collect on the debt, or have you set up payment arrangements that you can afford.
Okay.
So it's not such that because you have $50,000 in debt and your income is 40, that's only for a certain time period. Okay?
That's what I didn't understand.
Because you can hit the lotto.
I think we all have more debt than income.
And I want to also say that in a scenario like that, if you're still working and you got income still coming in, you're going to have to show it, because you're going to have to file next year.
Exactly.
And so if you end up with a refund, guess what? They're going to
take it.
And they'll apply it to that debt. So each case, each situation is so different.
It really is. It's so important to get the information from a licensed professional so you don't get it confused like I just did.
And the other area I want to talk about, and that's Social Security.
Oof.
And if, oftentimes clients come to us and they say, why are they taxing them on my Social Security? I paid the tax already. Quite aware of that. But guess what? So I'm going to get to that. And then I'm often asked the question, if I'm under retirement age, are there any limits on how much income I make?
What do you mean by retirement age? You mean full Social Security age to collect the full Social Security? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And not have to repay if I've gone over the limits.
You can't go over the limit if you're at full Social Security age. You can make as much as you want, right?
Well, let's say you're under full
under, okay.
Yes. let's say you're under full Social Security age. And for 2023, excuse me, if your annual earnings was $21,240 for 2023, and let's say you had additional income, like wages, you worked, you continue to work, and you were collecting Social Security, and you were, say, 62, and you weren't at full retirement age, but you end up making over $22,000. You made $22,000 greater than the limit.
For 2023.
For 2023.
Okay.
Okay? For every dollar over that, overage, you are going to have to pay, for every $2 you earn over the limit. Social Security is amazing, isn't it? Every dollar, every $2 you earn,
50%.
You are going to be required to pay that overage.
And that overage is 50% of everything over.
Correct. It's
Oh
50%.
my God.
I like that 50%.
Yeah, 50%. So what happens, and this is something I heard through the grapevine, I have no, full disclaimer here. I didn't look it up in Wikipedia or nothing like that. But I heard at a conference, I was talking to one of my colleagues, and they were telling me that if you elected to select your Social Security early, and you went over, as you just stated, and you paid that 50% to Social Security, when you became full Social Security retirement age, you get it back?
Correct.
Is there any truth to that?
No, it is. I did look that up.
I can take mine then.
And I'll say case by case basis, and also check with the Social Security Administration. But I did read that. I did read that. So I want to also say now, let's say you're collecting Social Security and you're getting your pension, and you're still working, so you're getting wages, and then you're earning, dividends from stocks, investments, and maybe some capital gains. And this is what I'm often asked by my clients: why am I being taxed on my Social Security? Well, here's the other thing. The other income, pensions and wages and capital gains, for a single person, if the income is $25,000 on the other income, and most people that do get a pension is greater than $25,000. So I'll give you a hypothetical. Let's say your pension is $50,000 and you're single, and you're also getting your Social Security payments. 50% of the Social Security payments that you're going to be reporting on your taxes is going to be taxed on. 50%. If the other income, which is pension, is over $34,000, 85% of that is going to be, Social Security is going to be taxed.
Do you get it back? Do you get it back though?
Yeah, with a refund.
Oh, okay.
With a refund.
Okay.
And the other area I want to just, mention, because I know we're running out of
Yes.
time. So is under the Corporate Transparency Act, there is a new regulation out there where all individuals who filed with the Secretary of State to register a business as an LLC or a corporation, you're going to be required to file what we call a beneficial ownership form. And your deadline to file that is January 1st, 2025. There are penalties being assessed for those who do not file. The minimum is $500 a day.
Oh my goodness, that's just ridiculous.
There are some organizations that are exempt. So I suggest you Google beneficial ownership information, all those organizations that are LLCs, and there's so many of them.
There are so many, even my sons have an LLC.
Well, make sure you remind them.
I definitely will.
I want to point out, there was something else too regarding it. Why is this being done? This information will be reported to FinCEN. And the reasons why it's being done is because of money laundering, and it's very important that you be aware of what it's all about. So I strongly encourage you, when you sit down with your tax professional, that you ask questions, review the tax return before you sign it, and don't sign it until they sign it.
Exactly.
How about that?
That is wonderful information. Brenda, we got to have you back. We only got like 90 seconds left.
Well, that's great. I look forward to the opportunity. As I said before, you can reach us at 203-540-5624. We are open for business. We're looking for new clients. We're looking for bookkeeping clients. And we're looking for clients that have tax debt and they need someone to help them resolve their problems.
And there's a lot of them out there. Brenda, thank you so much. Please come back soon. We got to wrap up because we're done. Well, now I'm being told we have a whole minute left.
Well, that's awesome.
Is there anything else that, any other important points you want to make that you could do in less than 30 seconds?
Well, again, the beneficial ownership form, again, individuals, you could do it yourself if you want, need
Big
to.
corporations,
Yes.
they can have their tax accountant do
Yes,
that.
make
But it's
sure.
so important for all of you young entrepreneurs out there that have your LLCs, look into this information, call Brenda, and make sure that you're not fined $500 a day.
Yes.
Thank
we're
you
not
so
doing
much,
it.
Brenda.
Thank
I love
you.
you.
Love you as well, my sister.
Come back soon. And we have to wrap up. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.